Namaskaram. This is a new program which I am trying to do called Guru Vandan, the journey with your Guru, the lighter moments. You yourself is a Guru of so many people, but having your Guru as a personality, can you please share?
Thank you very much. It's very beautiful thought. All the best to you. Hearty congrats to think out of the box.
Thank you.
And here I would like to mention, with this Guru, we need to do one more maybe, because Devikanandan Sharma of Rajasthan, Banastali Vidyapith, and Srinivasulu sir, both are like me, two eyes. So I cannot do justice to one and not to the other. So we may have to do one more with him. I have, fortunately, some of his works with me.
Okay.
You can have a photograph and some pictures. So you can. Srinivasulu sir, the very name conjures up so many happy memories, nostalgic down the lane, and I would like to share the joy of some of them with all of you today. The journey began way back in '86 when I had taken a couple of my friends, Sushila Nagaraj and her son. He was not married at the time, fresh graduate from some university abroad. Both of them with me had dreams and delights about Kalakshetra. We just adored the place, the whole lot of visual arts, the performing arts, the ambience, the temple, everything. So time was not a constraint. So we just joined in for the prayers, sat through the whole session, moved on to the dance class. Balagopal sir was teaching a few of his students usual pranks of Krishna Leela. This one was about breaking the pot with stones. They all thought it was some competition, so the stones are kept, so all they have to do is just go pick it up and throw it at the pot. Then he came down on them and told them that stones won't be piled up, you can't just pick and choose, you have to go search for it and get the one which you feel is nice. That's the way that whole teaching mechanism in Kalakshetra blossomed, making every student creative, research oriented, analytical, appreciative, and then perform. From then we went to the visual arts department. There Mr. Srinivasulu sir was seated. You have to share this sequence. And during Rampatabhishekam in Kalakshetra dance productions, they are not given elaborate thrones and kind of things which will take the eye away from the performer. A pile of one big table or two tables put together and another smaller one on top, spread with maybe kalamkari or one of the dance costumes of Kalakshetra, and that will become the throne. Minus the kalamkari, minus the dance costume, that became the seat for my teacher. And on that he will keep a Kanakapulla desk and a cane chair, and that will be his way of taking classes. All the students will be seated on mats, again each one of them having one Kanakapulla desk. That's the studio. And it was the stage of Rukmini Arangam. It is not what it is today. The front of the stage was covered with windows, so we had one side lighting, and the whole theatre roof was not there. And all the whole area open to nature with all the pluses, the trees, the flowers, the birds, the animals darting across. So that was an extended studio. And then when I went in, I was just surprised and shocked to see people in their 40s and 50s sitting there and learning with him. Then I asked him, how come? Whenever I ring up the principal and find out whether I could join, he always said it was only for the children between 3 and 4 in the evening. Then he said, who asked you to ask? Just come. And I forgot totally about all of it. And suddenly in June, one of my friend's daughter by name Sharmila Das, she came home and she took the liberty to ask me, how stupid can you be, auntie? Don't you know there is a formality? You have to pick up the application form, fill it up, pay up your fees if you really want to join. Yes, after so many years of not doing anything like college or admission or attendance, because my children have gone to college and I was just wanting to go to college. Thanks to her, formalities were finished and I was able to go. Then the first question was to do a little entrance exam. So you go back to the teacher. Yeah, he gives you about 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch, one temple design, and then he asks you to draw. And you feel too proud and haughty, thinking, oh, this is so simple. But then you realize what the journey is going to be. With him, it was more or less one-to-one. There was a syllabus, there was all kinds of opportunities, but then he didn't let that each individual to develop in their own path, because we didn't have any restrictions on that front. But the way he had done it, when I analyze it retrospectively, I have realized he has gone through the gradual process of teaching methodology, which I normally use now, thanks to him. And it's like finding the answer first and working your algebra backwards. So the journey began. I started going because I was asked to come only between 3 and 4. Then realized I can't do anything in that time. So I would go there at 11 because 12 to 1:30 was the lunch time, long time, because of the dancers will be tired. So I'll go at 11, catch him before he takes his lunch and sleeps off. So whatever I missed from 9 to 12, 9 to 11, I'll catch up and I'll be sitting and doing. And then the last became till 4, and then it became my whole passion. So priority became visual arts. 18 hours in a day wasn't enough. He is so fantastic and fantastic. The way he enters Kalakshetra, being so big and old, all of them had to walk from the Tiruvallur bus depot. There was a Leo cow shed and they could walk through and all that. But the minute he enters, you must see him. He will be wearing a multicolored, beautiful Nepali turban or Tibetan or whatever part of the world it may be. Have a whole lot of multiple colored beads around his neck, jibha and a veshti, because that's the uniform normally, and the Angavastram, that will tell tales. And he has an authority no one could despise, and that will be there because Atte has accepted his choice, his artistry, his suggestions, everything that does, from Vishulas, starting from the costumes to backdrops to props to even the Toran, the entrance in both the Arangams, the wooden panel he had acquired from some antique dealer. And all the Tanjavur painting in their collections, he would source them. She was more like a queen bee, and she attracted all the artists, such supreme talents, and everybody just worked together and built up this beautiful temple. Had such wonderful both learning experience and joyful experiences, and the whole process was very interesting, both illuminative and full of entertainment also. He can never remember any of our names. Each one he has his own name to call. Initially none of us would even know that we are not that, but we are something else. So Shushrila became Anusuya to begin with. So for a long time we all thought she was Anusuya, till she herself said, no, I'm not Anusuya. And then his temper is also phenomenal. But the very minute he shouts, the next minute he will calm down immediately, and everything will have a meaning and purpose. And the way he addresses also will be very funny. With a booming voice he'll say, do this, get this. And that's the way he will say. But then that was a learning again. I would like to share a little anecdote here. For example, I wanted to learn the Hyderabad techniques. He said, go to a mechanic shop, car mechanic shop, and get this particular wood sprayed with whatever color that he is using on the car and come back. But you can't defy, you cannot argue, you just keep quiet and stand for the next session, he will start. Go get lac. So I went, I didn't know what is lac, where is it available, but fortunately here we have one Narayana old home medicine herb stall, and I was catering to Kalakshitra. So you ask for kalamkari dyes, all these kind of old methodology, units and techniques demanding components always had. So I could pick up the lag from him, come back the next day. Then he'll say, where is the spirit? I won't know that you needed spirit. Okay, the next day it goes on. So like that, every day he'll be asking for one, that all the techniques are ingrained in your mind and you don't need a recipe book or a digital reference. Even today I'm able to talk because all that every day he'll be asking for one, and he was a man of techniques. So he didn't mind sharing with us. If you ask for it, you have to tap the source, otherwise nothing was given free. After the first year with all these line drawings, and then we reached up to Tanjavur painting. The second year we started on oil technique a little bit, because I was working on egg tempera on silk. The first one was fully covered with designs. I said we have to know that it is silk and it's not a paper or other canvases. Then he immediately brought back a calendar of Chinese designs, all those beautiful trees and birds. He said copy. Always I believe in accepting copy work for the very first painting. After that you learn the technique and you focus on the technique. You don't need to know the other details. Then you learn. So I said after this I don't want to repeat the same thing. So same bird he accepted me to do with silk, oil on silk. And he said bring a black kambli which is available from Khadi or Co-optex, which normally you can see all the beggars wrapping around themselves. Spread it, put your silk on that and paint, then the oil will get absorbed, it won't spread. These are the beautiful little hints that you learn along the way, and that is really like an encyclopedia next to you, kind of telling you where the references are, where the consequences are, where the importance are, do's and don'ts are. The way he teaches every one of us is the same, but tuned to individual ups and downs, plus minuses, and they whatever they wanted. One girl from mentioned names had come down. Poor thing, she was wanting to do dance, but dance is very choosy. She didn't get through the selection, and music also she couldn't. And then she was asked whether she would like to do visual arts because her focus was on fine arts. She came in. By the time she came to the 4th year, she was able to have a solo show with the consulate of her country inaugurating it. And when she finished and went back, she had a solo show in Colombo, and the Chief Prime Minister opened the show. The girl who was shuttled around, who was feeling so low down, with no kind of a confidence, demoralized, she became a butterfly from a moth. That's the way he treated each and every one of us. And then the 3rd year we had to do, at least I want to learn pan-Indian techniques. So he started, we did the Madhubani. Immediately again, he could joke around and criticize and laugh and make you just stand there and wonder what's going to happen. Then the journey again, he asked me to bring jute, double folded it, stretched it on a wooden frame like a canvas, and then applied clay and cow dung. To reinforce, he asked me to add a little bit of cement so that it's not a wall, nothing fibrous at the back, so that made it adhere. And then we gave a coat of chudam. At that time, since the natural colors wasn't available with me, we used the oxides from the hardwares which they use for the fixing the tiles. So that again we have to grind it with gum like natural color. So the way you learn with him is humorous, but at the same time very inspiring. To me, he's not just Guru, he's much more than that. I'm very fortunate that he adopted me as a daughter and a disciple. So if I don't go to college one day, he will come home to pick me up on the way. Or if I hadn't come, on his way back he will drop in. And sometimes he just enjoys food. One simple thing like a curd semia, that semia upma differently done with curd as the base. It will be like a substitute for curd rice. Has its own taste and flavor with a little bit of cut mangoes. It's delightful. I didn't know that he hasn't had it at all. So the minute I served, he thought it was novelty. He was just enjoying it. Like that, every simple thing will be a delight to him, and he will take the deserving students to all kinds of technical possibilities where he is commissioned, like sheet metal coloring and enameling, or it could be cement, or it could be terracotta, anything. And then I was into research seriously. So the very first symposium that I attended was with him. It was at Lalitkala Academy, and beautifully the topic was tradition versus modernity. It was a week-long session, and foreign engaged people were speaking, and it was a beautiful exposure. Nandita Krishna beautifully explained Nataraja concept, and she said at the point it was visualized and created, it would have been contemporary, but over the years it has become tradition. So we cannot segregate one from the other. It's kind of a moving, two circles moving together continuously. So sometimes it will overlap, sometimes it will touch, sometimes it will be far apart. And that's the beauty which he cultivated in us. And he lives in that kind of a memory. So I feel, to quote Bhimsen Joshi, I am nothing, I am nothing. And I invoke the blessings of the Gurus, their creative wisdom. It's like a spring well, it flows out through their eyes, through their hands, through me. I am just a tool in their hands, in their memory, in their love, in their affection.